Sunset occurred today in the John Day Valley at 9:29. We're approaching that time right now. I can still see bluish color to the sky. I've just spent the last half an hour or so fine-tuning the scope model for go-to use. We'll see how well it turned out. What I'm going to do is I'm basically going to restrict myself to studies of interest between right ascension 18 hours and 19, and to those that are above the celestial equator up to 45 degrees. It'll be interesting how many we get in. I am pushing my limits today because I am restricting everything to 5-second exposures, and we are using the light pollution filter in the optical train of the 150 millimeter semi-apochromatic Skywatcher f8 refractor. Okay, the time now is 9:37. This is about 8 minutes after, an hour after sunset. We're of course looking at Messier 13. However, I had hoped that we'd be able to turn up 11.7 magnitude NGC 6207 at this point, but we got nothing. I will zoom in just in case. All right, there is what I would think is that's our 35 arc minute view. We're operating at 150x, and we're getting nothing of the spiral class, I think it was a AC galaxy. So I'm a little concerned. We're using 5-second exposures. We're not revealing anything of the galaxy. I did notice the other night there's a galaxy in between the two, but I want to go on now. I'm just trying to baseline conditions for the rest of the evening's 5-second exposures. Okay, before going on to our first study in the series planned for tonight between hour 18 and 19 and celestial equator and 45 degrees north declination, we need to check the conditions. Right now it's 9:43. I would say we're very close to I'm not really seeing any color in the above my head, but I can see some when I start looking a bit south. Here we're having a 5-second view of the Dunbell Nebula, Messier 27. This is a view comparable to what I could get under the best of conditions using the Rev 2 system on this very same scope. Okay, as it turns out, our very first study in the 18 hour right ascension is at 18 hours, 2 minutes, 4 seconds. It's NGC 6525. It's an open cluster in Ophiuchus, 10 arc minutes in size with no specified magnitude or brightest stars. It's 4,700 light years distant, so it's a fainty. We're at right ascension 180204, of course, and a declination of plus 11 degrees, 2 minutes, 17 seconds in the constellation of Ophiuchus, the snake charmer. NGC 6527 is a galaxy in Hercules. I believe it's right there. It's magnitude 13.4, 1.4 by 1 arc minute, spiral with a lowercase a, and they don't exist. It should either be an SB, SABA, or an SBA. 249 million light years distant, puts this about the size of 80,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 18 hours, 1 minute, 46 seconds with a declination of plus 19 degrees, 43 minutes, and 43 seconds. NGC 6547, which should be right there, is a 13.6 magnitude, 1.3 by 0.4 arc minute sized, nearly edge-on spiral. It's also a spiral lowercase a. 126 million light years distant, right ascension 180510, and a declination of plus 25, 1356. All I can assume is a lowercase a means it's once removed from lenticular class without any idea of its spiral structure. Here we can see an edge-on galaxy, NGC 6548, but it's not really presenting in terms of its aspect ratio. It just looks that way. Galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 11.7, 2.9 by 2.8 arc-minute spiral with a bar, and of the lenticular class O, 97 million light years distant, puts this about 80,000 light years in diameter. It's got right ascension 18 hours, 5 minutes, 59 seconds, and a declination of plus 18 degrees, 35 minutes, 13 seconds. Now let me describe this one first. This is NGC 6549, Galaxy in Hercules. It's also 6550, magnitude 13.7. Kind of edgy on 1.4 by 0.4 arc-minute spiral with a lowercase b c. Basically, that means it's a C class with a couple of spiral arms. 301 million light years distant means this one's probably somewhere around 110,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 18 hours, 5 minutes, 49 seconds with a declination of 18 degrees, 32 minutes and 16 seconds. I think our study is to be seen right here, but who knows? I'll have to check out Steve Gottlieb for that information. Okay, frankly, I'm not seeing this brightish galaxy on the screen at all. It's NGC 6555, Galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 12.4, 2.1 by 1.7 arc minutes, Spiral with a bar and lowercase c, so that means it has no distinct core, which may explain it, because it may be getting lost on the screen. It's at 18 hours, 7 minutes, 49 seconds with a declination of plus 17 degrees, 36 minutes, 17 seconds. And with this view, I'm going to bump up the exposure time to 10 seconds to see if we can bring it out, and I'll leave it at that setting for the rest of the evening, unless I decide to bump it up once again. Once again, even at 10 seconds exposure, we are not seeing NGC 6555, and it should be quite visible at magnitude 12.4. Okay, NGC 6570 is a galaxy in Ophiuchus. It's magnitude 12.7, 1.9 by 1.1 arc-minute, spiral with a bar and a lowercase m, which pretty much means it's immature. 104 million light years distant, puts it about 75,000 light years in diameter. Has a right ascension of 18 hours, 11 minutes, 7 seconds, with a declination of plus 14 degrees, 5 minutes, and 33 seconds. Frankly, I suspect it is this really faint nebulosity right here, and no wonder we're having such difficulty seeing these. This is no core, just a faint nebulosity. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. I would play with it, but I've got to move on to get as many studies in as possible this evening. Okay, what we're looking for here may be one of these faint fuzzies, and possibly this one, but most everything's been turning up in this part of the field. Well, as it turned out, we only got 8 minutes of the 15 minutes in that last video, and I just covered a series of galaxies, which included NGC 6581, which I suspect is a Higgson group. It's down here. That group has the faintest one was this 6581 is a galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 15.5, 0.4 by 0.4 arc-minute compact galaxy, 225 million light years distant, maybe 40,000 light years in diameter. It's at right ascension 18 with a declination of plus 25 degrees, 39:44 minutes. I'd say we lost maybe 10 studies in tonight's exploration of hour 18 to 19, but we're going to just move on. Thank you. Well, our next study is not this sweet little edge-on immature galaxy here. It's actually a fainter one down here somewhere. It's NGC 6591, Galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 16.3, 0.3 by 0.1 arc-minute, spiral, right ascension 181403, declination 210347. We're operating at 5-second exposure time, and we're going to push it up to 10. Okay, the 16.3 magnitude 6591 we're looking for should be down in this region here. It could be any one of these really faint, just barely above. Ooh, that looks intriguing there. It's quite small. That looks like it has an aura around it with a brightish core. It's just considered a spiral. Why don't we go ahead and push this up to 30 seconds exposure time now? Oh yes, this is a nice view at 30 seconds, and I can play with the histogram a little bit because I have quite a spectrum here available to me. Push that off to the right one off to the right and the left one off to the left. Good, solid view. We should be looking somewhere in here in this region here for our galaxy. This is a very nice galaxy. It's probably around magnitude 13.5 with a core and extensions, obvious extensions. This may be our study right here. It actually has some features in it, but I'd have to verify that. This is NGC 6591 at 30 seconds, a galaxy in Hercules, listed as magnitude 16.3 and a spiral 0.3 by 0.1 arc minutes. Even if we assume that this is the blue-violet, we're still talking something like magnitude 15.5 for this galaxy. Right ascension, 18 hours, 14 minutes, 3 seconds, with a declination of plus 21 degrees, 3 minutes, 47 seconds. So I am quite pleased to be able to present this view. There is something intriguing right there, but we could have something else here. But this looks most like a galaxy and even a fainter one right next to it. Moving on. What we're seeing right about here is NGC 6593, galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 15.5, but it's a lenticular spiral. Let's assume it's 14.5, 0.8 by 0.4 arc minutes, 231 million light years distance, probably around 60,000 light years in diameter. I'm not going to play with the histogram on this one. We are operating at 30-second exposure time. We're at right ascension 18 hours, 14 minutes, 3 seconds, and a declination of plus 22, 17:01. Here we are having a view of NGC 6599/6600. Galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 12.6, 1.3 by 1.2 lenticular spiral, 140 million light years distant. The low magnitudes like that tend to be actually visual magnitudes. It's the higher ones that are suspect usually. We're at right ascension 18 hours, 15 minutes, 42 seconds with a declination of plus 24 degrees, 54 minutes, and 44 seconds. I'm going to backtrack on this one a little bit in terms of exposure time, given its brightness. Not a bad view of NGC 6599, 6600. Magnitude 12.6 again, 1.2 by 1.3 arc minutes. So there is our look at 10 seconds. It does look like I could improve the histogram, but I'm not going to take the time to do so. Oh yes, here, by the way, here is that 150x view. And if we can squeeze in a 200, that might be, a 300x view, that might help in terms of seeing far more of its aura and core region. Here we see a 2-second view of the same galaxy, NGC 6599, 6600, magnitude 12.6. And that'll be the end of this series. And a 5-second view of NGC 6602, a galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 14.5, 1 by 0.7 arc minute spiral with a bar and peculiarities. Some 143 million light years distant, puts it about 40,000 light years in diameter. It's at 18 hours, 16:34, declination 25:02:37. Well, you don't see it every day, but here a satellite has passed directly over the core of NGC 6615 in Ophiuchus, a galaxy, magnitude 13.1, 0.9 by 0.9 arc minutes in size, spiral with a bar and lenticular A, so half removed from lenticular, very mature galaxy, 125 million light years distant, puts this one at about 30 to 35,000 light years in diameter with a right ascension of 18:18:33, declination of plus 13:15:53, and this is a 5-second exposure. Because that satellite or meteor trail passed directly over the core of the galaxy, I have now increased it to a 10-second exposure time. Once again, that's NGC 6615, magnitude 13.1, almost 1 by 1 arc minutes. Okay, leaving the exposure time at 10 seconds, we're getting a nice edgy on view of this galaxy with our core and extensions more or less east and west. This is NGC 6616, a galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 13.8, 1.4 by 0.6 arc minutes. Spiral with a lowercase a, b, 1.5 times removed. 248 million light years distant, right ascension, 18 hours, 17 minutes, 41 seconds, plus 22, 14, and 16 seconds. Decent view on that magnitude 13.8 galaxy. Another nice view of a magnitude 13 galaxy in, Hercules. 1.2 by 1.1 arc minutes, elliptical, 233 million light years distance, probably 75,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 18:18:55, declination plus 23 degrees, 39 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, folks, it's becoming pretty clear that the cat's meow of galaxy viewing is an exposure time of 10 seconds. What we're seeing here is NGC 6623. Let me call it up. You can see the other galaxy in the same field of view. Our previous galaxy here, this Aegeon presenting, and we have this, looks more like a lenticular face-on or an elliptical. NGC 6623 is a galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 14.5. That's very nice, but it could be violet. 1.3 by 1.2 arc minute, elliptical, 228 million light years distant, probably 75,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 18:19:42 with a declination of plus 23, 42, and 33 seconds. Very, very nice. Another very nice feature of 10-second exposures is it's easy to set up the histogram to get something that's a balance between detail and aesthetics. Here we have NGC 6627, which I once again failed to poke in to get the data on. And of course, when I'm in a hurry, I end up getting letters instead of numbers. But at least you get a chance to see this galaxy develop over several passes. NGC 6627, galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 13.3, 1.3 by 1.2 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and a lowercase b, which explains why we can see the core. It's only 2 times removed from lenticular, 238 million light years distant, probably about 80,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 18:22:38, declination 15:41:53. Here we are getting a view of NGC 6628, galaxy in Hercules, magnitude 12.9, a little bit larger, 1.9 by 1.3 arc minutes, lenticular spiral, 203 million light years distant. Right ascension 18:22:21, declination plus 23, 28, 39. We're coming up on 11 o'clock. I think I will bail at that point. We will resume the hour 18 to 19 on the manana, but first let's go ahead and capture a few more. Okay, I cannot guarantee a good view on this one. I think the scope is now starting to get partially blocked, but not by too much. What we should be seeing here is NGC 6632. Pulling up the data. It's easy to get distracted when the scope starts to point towards a roof try. Anyway, NGC 6632 is a galaxy in Hercules, bright, magnitude 12.1, 3 by 1.4 arc minute, spiral with a lowercase bc, 216 million light years distant, puts this at about 175,000 to 200,000 light years in diameter. Pretty large. Right ascension 18:25:03, declination plus 27 degrees, 32 minutes and 6 seconds. All right, what we have here is something a little bit different. It's a fill in the blank, open cluster, NGC 6633, We're getting the full aperture of the scope on it. Not that that really matters. All those stars are quite bright, well spaced out. It is open cluster in Ophiuchus, magnitude 4.6. Totally, the brightest stars are magnitude 7.6. Surprise, surprise. Some 30 stars. It's a class 3 2, which means well spread out, but the star magnitudes are moderately of the same. 1,200 light years distant. Right ascension 18 hours, 27 minutes, 15 seconds, with a declination of 6 degrees, 30 minutes, and 30 seconds. This will be our last exploration for the evening, and we will take off from here tomorrow, continuing the 18 to 19 hour right ascension studies from the celestial equator up to roughly 45 degrees north latitude. I do believe we started with a 5-second exposure of Messier 27, and let us finish with a 10-second exposure, which demonstrates just about all the features you could want to see in the dumbbell planetary, including the bulbous extensions at the celestial equator of the star, and very sharp boundaries. Beautiful view. This will be our Carpe Noctem view of the evening, and I think we've determined tonight that the best way to go after studies are 10-second exposure times. So let's make that our default for the time being, always subject to change. Even though I'm having to look at the screen tonight, I am seeing nebulosity in the Milky Way, which means that even with my eyes not well dark adapted, the sky is pretty clear on this first 24 hours after the new moon. It is now 10:58 on the 26th of July 2025. I've been at this for about an hour and a half, and unfortunately we lost some 7 minutes and probably 8 or 9 studies from our list. Hopefully I'll be able to include them on the manana. I will continue this until a couple of days after the new moon. Carpe Noctem.